prompting and the transfer of stimulus control, brought to you by Building Connections Behavioral Health. Let's start with talking about behavior acquisition, development of new behaviors through reinforcement. Some learners can acquire new information by being told how to do it, while others will require being shown how to do it. Finally, some will require physical assistance, such as prompting, as a strategy to acquire new skills. So ask yourself, when throughout the day do you use prompting? Prompting should be used to teach a variety of new behaviors, such as teaching a child to bounce a ball, teaching a new concept in class, teaching a child to give personal space, or learn a new behavior for school. Develop stimulus control is when the individual gets the behavior right at the right time, is contextually appropriate. When behavior is under stimulus control, it's when it occurs in the presence of a particular discriminative stimulus, or SD. A prompt is any antecedent stimulus or event that controls the response. This is used by teachers, coaches, parents, and trainers. It gets the behavior to occur in the correct situation. This allows the learner to access reinforcement. For example, you might be working on teaching expressive language to a child. You might show them a picture and ask, "What is it?" and then tell them "dog" right after you ask, "What is it?" There are several types of prompts. The first prompt is a verbal prompt. This is telling a person what to do, giving an instruction, rules, hints, or reminders of the question. Gestural prompts is any physical movement another person makes, whether it be pointing, gesturing, nodding, or pointing to a button. Modeling prompts is demonstration of the correct behavior by another person. Teachers model it, the learner then imitates in the presence of the SD. Watch me push a button like this. A physical prompt is another person physically helping the learner engage in the correct behavior. Physical guidance is also used as a physical prompt. A stimulus prompt involves some change in the stimulus or addition or removing of stimulus to make a correct response more likely. Once the learner has become successful using prompts, it is time to fade the prompts, or as we call it, transfer of stimulus control. What we want to do is to establish the goal and get the behavior to occur in the presence of the SD without prompt assistance. If we leave prompts in place for too long, the learner becomes prompt dependent. To avoid prompt dependency, prompts are faded as soon as possible, and teaching is not considered accurate or correct until all prompts are faded. The prompt hierarchy shows us the path from the most intrusive and least independent form of support through the least intrusive and most independent form. How do you know how much prompting to use? Some skills benefit from a prompting style where we start out at the least amount of prompts possible, then increase it to what is necessary. For example, when we are teaching a child to follow instructions, such as "come here," we would give the instruction and then provide the least amount of prompting necessary to have the child follow that direction. Other skills, such as independent learning, benefit from using a most to least model. This is starting at the top of the ladder and moving down the ladder to increase independence. An unsuccessful transfer of stimulus control to the natural occurring stimuli is called prompt dependency. This occurs when behavior is only occurring when prompted, most often verbally. Prompt dependency may also occur when ineffective fading procedures are used. To correct prompt dependency, we must focus on relevant environmental clues. We need to ask ourselves what stimulus should ultimately invoke the response after training. Use differential reinforcement to correct prompt dependency. Provide differential consequences for prompted and unprompted responses. Differential reinforcement is important to prevent as well as eliminate prompt dependency.